Autobots, fall back!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, thanks to Shozy Store, we're going to be checking out Lucky Cat's ANIKI, which is their take on a Studio Series Optimus Prime based on the Bumblebee movie. Now, the original figure by Hasbro has to be by far one of their best to date, although, seeing as it was likely based on extremely early concept art, there are quite a few inaccuracies with the design, whereas Lucky Cat's first Optimus Prime was super close, but was unfortunately just far too small. This is a straight Voyager-sized upscale of that exact figure, and as we whack up an image of how he did appear in the movie, an incredibly faithful recreation of his design. The entire robot mode, but more specifically the head and torso, are huge improvements in comparison to the Studio Series version, and look almost exactly how Prime appeared in the movie.
Old friend, you kept this planet safe.
He also just feels solid. Nothing about the robot mode seems like it wants to come apart, and much like a masterpiece, they've used a mixture of both pretty decent plastic and die-cast, which really does give this guy a great sense of weight, and it really helps that almost all of that metal has been fully integrated into the legs, making him incredibly well grounded. These also look to be ripped straight out of the movie and are completely sculpted front, side to back, which, speaking of, this does not look like it can transform. I would honestly argue that this looks just as good as the front, and again is incredibly close to his CG model with not a hollow space in sight. The spinal column also looks sick and even extends beneath the backpack, making it look completely cohesive even in a pose. So in all, a fantastic looking Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, and one that surprisingly does scale with the main line, leaving hope for the same treatment to apply to their legend scale Bumblebee. In terms of accessories, Prime includes one ion blaster, a removable clip, and one matrix of leadership. The blaster is an incredibly faithful recreation of how it did briefly appear in the film. And the Matrix, whilst it's mostly a conceptualized design, much like Optimus himself, pulls a lot of inspiration from how it appeared in the original G1 cartoon. I also really like how, to match its look in the film, it can even be seen through the chest windows. Turning to posability to see whether or not this Prime has the touch. To begin with, the head is on a ball joint. This can look up and down, tilt side to side, and of course can spin left to right. His shoulders can kick forwards and backwards, as well as out to the side, although you do have to make use out of this additional top panel, which I will say, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of how it looks. The bicep can spin, the elbows are double jointed, allowing them to bend way past 90, the wrist is ball jointed, and the index and thumb are individually articulated, whereas the final three are conjoined, giving him the ability to grasp the matrix of leadership. The hip skirts are fully extendable, allowing for a fantastic range at the waist. The pelvis can drop down, allowing this guy to pull off the complete splits. He is also packing a pretty deadly high kick. The thigh can rotate, the knee can bend way past 90, and the ankles are ball jointed, so these can kick forwards, backwards, side to side, and then finally the toe can pivot upwards. But to really see the true power of this Prime, let's now put him through the pose test. Firing through a few robot mode size comparisons, first up is the Bumblebee movie Studio Series Leader Class Megatron, and I think it's crazy and also a big missed opportunity that we haven't so far seen these two designs battle it out on the big screen. Next up is Hasbro Studio Series 38, which is still a really well done figure, but when it comes down to accuracy, without a doubt, this version here absolutely reigns supreme. The 86 movie commands a class Optimus Prime, and these two are pretty much exactly the same size, so definitely in that mainline scale. Bumblebee movie, Voyager class Starscream, Shockwave and Soundwave, Deluxe class Ironhide, RC, Brawn, and then finally Bumblebee from both Rise of the Beasts and the Bumblebee movie.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
So, for the first step, take the smokestacks and angle these here to the side. You'll then take the lower part of the forearm and spin this all the way around until the back now faces the front, so that we can then take this panel and hinge it upwards. You'll then do the same here for this second panel, with the only small difference being that it is double-sided. You'll then take the fist, pull this here downwards, and then make use out of this swivel to expose the ball joint. Once completed, this can now snap back into place. You'll then take the fist, spin this all the way around, and snap this here backwards. The index finger must be compressed downwards with the thumb looking exactly like this. We can now make use out of the elbows and hinge this upwards. You'll then split the backpack directly down the middle, turn here to the side, as this is now going to kick up. With that complete, the chest windows will open and will slide up. You can then take the entire upper torso, fold this here forwards, to allow clearance for these panels to fold inwards. This section is now going to fold right over the top of them. You'll then take the midsection of the chest, fold this here down, so that we can then take the entire upper torso and fold this upwards. These panels are then going to slide to the back. You will then take this panel, hinge it backwards, and proceed to fully straighten out that grille. This can now flick forwards, and this panel can snap back into its original position. The back is now going to slide into the front wheels, with the headlights snapping backwards. With that complete, the entire top half can be fully rotated and the head can be slid back. The top of the shoulders will then snap down, allowing for this absolute nail breaker to be fully flicked forwards. This entire section can be spun all the way around, and the same can also be said for Optimus Prime's head. Once completed, you'll then take this and snap it back into place. You'll then take the chest windows and revert these back to their original positions, and then in true Optimus Prime style, the shoulders will slide backwards, and the forearms will slide forwards until they do connect with the front half of the truck. This panel is then going to snap upwards, with this one folding downwards, and then finally, to complete the front of the truck, this is going to fill out that gap. Turning to the transformation of the legs, take the feet and slide these inwards, with the front part of the foot kicking upwards. This section is then going to be spun all the way around. The inside of the leg is then going to be hinged all the way up until it rests against the thigh, allowing the back part of the leg to snap into the thigh. You'll then take the tires on the side of the leg and angle these upwards, which will then give you the ability to slide these backwards, which will then allow you to extend the gas cans from inside the leg. These will then flick upwards and can be folded to the front. This panel can then be spun back around, and the tyres will also flip. Once completed, this can be slid back into its original position, the foot can be compressed inwards, and the tyres will then snap back into place. Then, on the underside of Prime's left leg is an additional tab, which will help to secure the two halves, and that is the transformation now fully complete.
I am coming.
Here is Optimus Prime now fully transformed into his truck mode. And as we whack up an image of the 1986 Freightliner, whilst there are definitely some similarities, I've got to be honest and say that in comparison to his robot mode, that transformation is just not worth it. Unfortunately, there are multiple gaps, jagged panel lines, and don't even get me started on the back of the truck. Now in his defense, from the front it actually doesn't look too bad, and mostly is easily recognizable as Optimus Prime, whereas the entire back half in comparison to the Studio Series version just honestly comes across as a complete jumbled mess, and I really do think is a direct result of this just being a simple upscale. There's not even a proper trailer hitch to make him compatible with some of the more recent releases, which I really do think is a massive missed opportunity, especially as the one time that we do see him in this mode, cruising through the Golden Gate Bridge, he is hooked up to one. You can, however, make full use out of this in order to store Prime's Iron Blaster, but again, it really doesn't look all that great. All 6 wheels are pinned into place, although due to the clearance being at a bare minimum, he will more than likely have to drag himself to reunite with Bumblebee. Racing through a few vehicle mode size comparisons, on the right hand side is the Bumblebee movie Voyager class Optimus Prime, which surprisingly in this form I actually do think looks so much better in comparison to Lucky Cat's version. Here is how he stacks up against the 86 movie Commander class Optimus Prime, the classic 1967 Camaro Bumblebee, then finally the Volkswagen Beetle Bumblebee. So, wrapping up on this review for Lucky Cat's ANIKI. For the most part, it is definitely an incredibly solid release. The robot mode looks exactly how he appeared in the Bumblebee movie, and it's a huge improvement visually compared to the Studio Series version. Where the figure does unfortunately fall kinda short though would have to be in that truck mode. This, in all honesty, is a hot mess, and seeing the amount of steps that it does take to transform this guy, I just do not think it's worth the hassle at all. But in terms of a mainline scale Optimus Prime based on this design, I really do think that overall this right now is the best out there. I would love to get your guys' thoughts on this down below. As always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Transform and roll out!